What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode review of Loki. Today's episode 2, titled The Variant, and this was a wild episode. This episode went places that I did not expect it to go at all. It was just crazy, crazy, definitely. Nothing near the end, it was more crazy, yeah, so right off the bat, first thing I want to say about this episode is that they played I Need a Hero in the opening of the episode. Like, oh my god. Literally, when that happened, I literally said out loud, I've heard this song 3 freaking times already. Seriously, they played this in the trailer for the He-Man series on Netflix. They played in the trailer just like a few days, what was it? Like Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, when they released the trailer for the new Guardians of the Galaxy game, they had that song in it too, and now it's here as well. What's all of a sudden this weird resurgence of, the song is great, I'm not saying it's not a bad song, it's a great song, although the Shrek 2 version is probably, in my opinion, better. But why have we heard it 3 times in a row? That's a little ridiculous to have it just back to back. Is Hollywood just trying to shoot this song into our arms like a drug right now? What's going on exactly? And Marvel specifically, Marvel used it twice recently. What's going on? If I hear it a 4th time and something I don't know, if I hear the Space Jam trailer, use it next, I'm done. I can't, I'm going insane. Besides that one thing, the episode, I personally feel like it was not as strong as the first episode. Like I said, it gets wild near the end. If you've seen the episode, that's why you're watching this, because you know it gets wild near the end. It's good, it's good. I don't think it's good, I don't think it's as strong as the first episode. Because, this one is a bit more slow when it's paced and taking its time to get to things, which is good. I just don't think it was as strong as the first one. Whereas the first one, was very much set up and, establishing all this weird and zany stuff. When you first watched episode 1, you're like, the heck is all this? You're just caught off guard by all this weird, interesting stuff. You're immediately just, your eyes are glued to the screen okay, this is wild. And there's wild stuff here too. But it's more so, it's slow burn. No, I wouldn't say slow burn, but it's very much more slow pace, pacing all this stuff out that's happening in the story. Like I said, not as strong as the first episode, but definitely good. So the episode, it's mostly just showing, a lot of it is showing kind of this dynamic between Loki and Mobius, and they work very well off each other. They have a great chemistry immediately. Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson have worked together prior on a movie, I've learned. From a Graham Norton interview I watched that Tom Hiddleston was on a few years ago. So they definitely have already know how to work for each other, but still, their chemistry of these characters work amazingly well. They click very well, where it's basically where it's like a buddy cop kind of routine, I guess, where it's you have one guy's the straight man, and then Loki's the not straight man. One's the goofball, one's the more serious guy, so it's that kind of thing. It's very fun, it's just seeing how... And we also see more about how Loki's motives. We learn a bit on him, and I'll get into that. So, overall, the majority of the plot, of course, them still tracking down this other variant Loki, who we do find by the end, and a lot of crazy stuff. We have this Loki, our main one. He establishes what this Loki would do. He likes to stall and talk, stall for time and such. And him explain this to them almost cost them almost caused this route they're trying to fix from going over the red line to a multiverse thing. They don't want that. And, of course, other thing, Loki also discovers how they're not able to find this other Loki. They discovered that this Loki's actually using disasters and apocalypses to hide him, because Loki discovers and figures out that, you guys say that you can't do a certain thing, or else a branching reality will be created. But if you do something in a event that is an apocalypse, if you do something in the episode they show, of course, they go to Pompeii and Loki demonstrates this whole big thing he was doing that would usually cause a branching timeline, but because it's Pompeii and that whole city is about to be just burned in ash and lava, it doesn't matter, because no matter what he does there, everyone's about to be dying and the place will be destroyed in a few more minutes, so it didn't really matter. And his theory was proven correct, so they did learn that this Loki is definitely hiding in these apocalypse to avoid being captured, because no one knows he's there, or she actually, because yeah, you've seen it. I'm not gonna. Why am I trying to beat around the bush? You've seen the episode. We know it's female Loki, which it's a big reveal, of course. Which I do like. I'll say this. I do like that they didn't stretch that out for too long. Most stuff like a CW DC show when they'll stretch out mysteries like that for a while about who our villain is behind the mask. I mean, we knew it was Loki, but they didn't stretch it out too long of like what kind of version of Loki it was. We knew there was gonna be a female Loki in the show, but we knew they cast someone. But I'm glad they didn't stretch it out too long, make you wonder like what version of Loki. Like is it another Tom Hiddleston Loki? Is it a female Loki, or is it even Kid Loki, which was gonna be very unlikely because we saw how tall this guy was, or she. Sorry. But yeah, so we would definitely not be the Kid Loki. But it was pretty cool seeing the female Loki. So yeah, getting on more on that. I'm kind of going all over the place right now with this episode review. But, you know, before we get into, like, female Loki, because I want to save all that stuff that happened at the end of the episode for, like, last, because I want to talk about their stuff still first. But yeah, of course, so we see more stuff about, like, most of the episode, like I said, was about Loki and Mobius kind of just talking, chatting, like, and like I said, they're very funny and stuff, and it has, like, this very humorous scene where, like, Loki's demonstrating, like, the whole, you know, hiding during apocalypse scene, like, he's messing up Mobius' salad, much to his, like mad disappointmentness, what, my English sucks right now. And it's even a whole nice conversation they have, talking about how, you know, free will, like, there's no free will at all, like, everything's predetermined right now. And he also talk about how, like, you know, we're the only people in the universe that has free will, so we can really do anything we wanted. But, like, of course, Mobius is like, well, no, like, we can't, because, like, we're time agents and we can't really be going off doing stuff. Like, he talked about how, like, he's very interested in jet ski. Like, he has magazines about jet skis. He thinks they're cool, and he would love to ride one, but he can't because they're about to create a branching timeline thing about why is this time agent guy riding a jet ski in the 90s and such. So all that stuff, and it's really cool talking. And also how Loki has this very very interesting line of dialogue about how, you know, the people who are good are never truly good, and the people who are bad are never truly bad on inside. And I think the context he was describing that as, like, he says he knows something that kids don't, which I think he said, and then he says that. So, I don't know, it was a neat little line, wasn't that big of a focus, I guess. But then, I guess, of course, gives Mobius the line to think about, you know, to then start thinking about what disaster they could be thinking of, because he thinks back into the first episode when how this variant Loki they're hunting gave this kid this, like, candy called Kablooey. I think that's what it was called. And it's a candy that's not from, like, the current time of the MCU. It's from later in the future, only about a couple more years in the future. And they discover that this variant Loki is possibly hiding out in this location in 2050. So we go to actually a little bit further than the actual MCU. And we go here, it's this Roxxcart mall, and basically it's a future version of Roxxon. They're like a big company in the Marvel Comics and the MCU. We saw them pop up in a few things like the Iron Man films. We saw them, they were more prominently popped up in a lot of the like MCU shows, or like the Marvel shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix shows, so not technically MCU. Like, oh yeah, that's something I wanted to mention actually. I didn't even think about this, but someone else pointed us out online in a video that Loki basically confirms that, like, the show basically confirms that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon, because in the last episode when they talked about how Loki kills Phil Coulson, there's no mention at all about how he survived and, like, went on to be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and such. And plus also talk about how, like, this is a whole linear timeline, and they just say how Coulson died. It basically confirmed that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon, so that's disappointing. But who knows, maybe this whole multiverse stuff that is happening, we could see it still brought back in some ways. It would be nice to see Coulson and some of the characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, make the jump to the MCU, like the movies and all these Disney Plus shows. Because I would love to see characters like Quake and May and, like, Fitzsimmons, like, all these characters appear in the films, so that'd be pretty cool. Getting back on topic, of course. And, of course, they go to the Roxxcart Mall in the year 2050, so that's cool. We didn't get a good look at the year 2050. We saw a couple more high-tech stuff. Nothing too, I would say, advanced. We got a quick look of the future, so nothing. We didn't get a look at too much of it, so yeah. But yes, of course, that's where all the crazy stuff happens, where we learn that this Loki has, like, her consciousness is, like, kind of jumping between these bodies and, like, inhabiting them, and then when she leaves one of them, they're going to be asleep for about minutes, like, just knocked out. And we start to learn more about these two Lokis, more so our Loki, and how he says that we learn about his plan, that he actually has plans to overthrow the Timekeepers, and, like, he wants to run the TVA, and he wants this Loki to be his right-hand Loki. I guess is what you can say. He wants her to work for him, but of course she doesn't want to do that, and we still don't know what her motivations are, like what she wants to do. Like she could want maybe just destroy the TVA entirely. Who knows? And of course she reveals herself as female Loki, and then of course she then just escapes after she stole a bunch of of course time grenades from a bunch of the TVA agents she killed, and she converted them somehow, like changed their properties to now and transport them throughout different parts of history, and started creating multiple branching timelines, which caused a big ruckus at the TVA, and they're like, oh crap, this is not good. So, and then of course she escapes, but then Loki decides to escape with her in that same time portal. So immediately, it went crazy by the end. So immediately things are going off the rails, which I'm really curious. I'm glad that I don't really know what's coming next. I thought it was pretty obvious where the show was going. Okay, yeah, they're gonna hunt down this female Loki. There'll be or this variant Lokis. We didn't know it was a female Loki at the time yet, but you get what I mean. They were hunt down this variant Loki. There's gonna be some crazy shenanigans along the way that we won't see coming, but that was gonna be the general gist. Maybe some other crazy twist might happen in the end. No, the twist happens right at the start here, I guess. And already, I have no clue now what's going to be happening in going forward. I assume our Loki will still be hunting down the female Loki, but the exact reasoning and plot behind it will be a little bit different. I'm not sure now if Mobius is hunting this Loki now. I'm not sure if he's going to be hunting him down now. I mean, we've seen from the trailers, this Loki gets into a lot of weird, crazy stuff. So I have no idea how that's going to come about. It's very interesting. And I'm not really sure how much, here's the thing, I do like that like I said, I like that I don't really know where it's going now, but this did feel like a final episode, of the season. It felt very much like this is something you would see in the second to last episode almost, or third to last episode, since this is a 6-episode season. So, I don't know, this feels like a real big thing that just kind of happened at the start, so it's a good thing, I guess, to be unpredictable going forward, but at the same time, I'm okay, so this is already going, feels wild right off the bat. So I know, I'm not, I'm very complicated on it, I like it, but at the same time, this feels more like it should have been something that maybe should have happened at the end, I think, but I guess having this happen now leads to these more possible stories, because we've seen from the trailers, the presidential Loki, that. I'm not really sure what the context of it was in the comics, but of course Loki at some point, runs in some kind of campaign thing. I never read that comic book, but of course we saw in the trailers, he does don that similar outfit from the comics. So something happens there, and he's surrounded by all those people in battle armor and giant battle axes, so something happens there, so it's gonna get crazy. And, we also learned that from one of the kidnapped TVA agents that the female Loki, kidnapped, that this agent gave up the location of the Timekeepers, which I didn't think that these agents knew where the Timekeepers were. Mobius established that when he's talking to Ravonna, he's never met Timekeepers. She has, apparently. So I guess, the agents don't... I thought the agents have never met them. Or I guess maybe they know where they are, they've just never met them, because they're always very busy. Because another thing they established that the Timekeepers have actually not... they talk about how last episode, things are planned out, they know the beginning and end of everyone's stories, for the most part, because they established the Timekeepers are not done actually writing out history. They're still, unraveling, time after the whole multiverse stuff happened years ago. And, they're still, working out and planning it all out, so they don't... The end of time is still, undecided, and, Mobius says that once that they've fully have written history, everything will be good, no more nexuses will happen, and we'll all meet at the end of time with them at peace. So, which is I'm not really that's interesting. So, it's very weird just hearing all this. Like I said, I said in the last review, I'm not a big fan of this whole determined fate thing, and I'm just not a fan of it. It's even weirder just still hearing about this stuff. But for this episode, I'm not sure if Timekeepers are dead or they're being stopped right now. I'm not... are they gonna be killed? Because, our Loki wants to overthrow them and kill them. Probably so does the female Loki, too. So, because, Because something has to happen to cause, like, maybe, like, because there's so many now branching realities that are happening, like, it'll be too much for the TVA to cover. I mean, they immediately start, like, rushing out to try and stop them, but maybe it'll be too much. So, like, maybe a lot of these branching realities will, like, this actually will be where, like, maybe this episode actually kicks off Marvel's What If. I don't know. It's very confusing. Like, we're still early on in the show. We're like, I mean, this show's already getting wild with all the multiverse and time stuff, but we're all still honestly on the tightrope still of it. It's like, we haven't even crossed the whole finish line yet of the wacky stuff that will probably happen. So, I don't know. It definitely, I'm curious. So this is the one, out of all the MCU shows so far, this one has to be the most curious, because there's a lot of stuff that we need answers and questions for, so I don't really know what's going down. It's very, very wild. I just don't know. Like, something's going to have to happen. So I'm assuming the timekeepers are probably going to be killed. So that'll happen. To go over a couple other things, brief in the episode. Loki read over a bunch of the different, like, apocalypses that have happened over history, like one of them being Ragnarok. It's a very quick scene. Like, we don't really see his full facial reaction. We do see, like, a tear sort of form from his eye just reading the report about, Ragnarok happening. And, it's very sad. It's nice seeing, like, I mean, this episode is establishing that this Loki, he's still not a good guy. Like, even they established earlier in the episode how, like, he's mainly, Mobius established that you're not here to help us to be a good guy, you're here to help us for your ego, because your ego can't handle the fact that there might be a superior Loki, so you have to evaluate yourself by saying, I'm the better Loki, which he says near the end of the episode as well, like saying how, like, I figured out, you thought you were so smart by hiding all these apocalypses, but no, I knew where you were, I found you, so I'm superior, clearly. Which is very Loki. But it's a very quick scene. I do like, Loki's like, he's a bad guy, but they've established that he's not entirely heartless, like, he's not like an outright evil person, like, of course, like, we've seen, we've seen him open up and be, like, sad about things, like, when his mom died, we saw him very heartbroken about that. And showing also this version of Loki who, like, for him, like, Ragnarok was not going to happen still for a couple more years. But still, it's great seeing that, although Asgard was not really his true home. Like, it was, but it wasn't, like his you know what I mean? He's a frost giant at first, so, like, it's not, Asgard's not really technically his home. And, like, like, he hated his father and, like, hates his brother a lot. So, like, but it's nice seeing that he did care about his home, like, he did care about it and the people, so it's heartbreaking for him to see, like, Ragnarok, all this stuff happen. And honestly, I mean, we know this Loki, I was just about to say, maybe this Loki, well, never mind, actually, never mind what I'm about to say. I'm about to say, maybe this Loki, he believes that maybe Thor and all of them died in Ragnarok, and I remembered, oh wait, no, because he saw the video footage from last episode where he saw that Thor survived past Ragnarok, and also he read the file about Ragnarok because he mentions how Hulk was there, so I forget what I was going to say. I thought he thought everyone died, he knew, but no, he knows that people survived. For the most part, he knows that. I think he knows people like Heimdall didn't make it, though. He's dead. Whatever. But yeah, a bunch of other fun little moments in the episode, like when Loki's in the library and he's being told he's getting shushed by a person, and he's like, shh, like he's shushing them back, like, no, I shush you, don't you shush me. So, a lot of fun stuff like that. Honestly, overall, like I said, it's a good episode. I just don't think it was as strong as the last episode. Again, it's kind of walking that, like, 7 to 8 line for me, like last episode was. I don't know. Like, I like it, but it's just, like, I don't know. Things about it, like, I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I'm intrigued. Like, this is definitely the one Disney Plus show so far of all the Marvel shows I'm most curious about what's going to go down. Like, so I can't wait to see what else happens. So, definitely get me crazy. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Tell me in the comment section down below what did you think of episode 2 of Loki. And stay tuned for next week for episode 3 of Loki. So, yeah. Tell me what you thought down below. And I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye. Hey, if you like that video, guess what? YouTube put out a video just for you on the left. Or, if you want to take my advice, watch the most recent video on the right. Thanks for watching.